Hello and welcome everybody, I am SocioPsycho and today we look at a game called Bardbarian. This was created by Tree Fortress Games and it's a tower defense element with a shrimp and snake qualities to it. Now this is a port from your mobile devices. When we go into settings, that's obviously recognized by the fact that it doesn't have a proper screen resolution options. And not sure what's going on with that. The sounds don't have music bar sliders, so the music may get way too loud for you and you'll have to change that via your desktop sound controller. And there are no rebindable keys, which I find to be unfortunate, especially seeing how there isn't all that many keys in the first place, but they don't let you rebind them, and I found it to be quite a hassle. So when we actually go into the game, there are different elements to the game. Now I wanted to show you more of the unlocks here, but the issue I had was that this game is very grindy and I just couldn't bear myself to continue grinding anymore to get there. Now as you see here in the corner you have a gold. During the mission you'll gain your gold and that will be shown in the gameplay. For gold you can then upgrade your units once you unlock them, and as you see down here they've got some classics that you might recognize. The writing in the descriptions is actually nice, and there's good variation in the units as to what they do, so you can use a different combination of troops to help you during the combat. So on top of the units you also have personal upgrades. Body spray makes bards party smell better, causing them to get slightly closer. When you're snaking, that can be useful. There's always little things, increase your party size from 5-6 units. And they all cost, obviously when it goes up in skill, it goes up in price. You have your units, your hero, and town. Now the pet one I found to be actually quite nice, and it saves you a lot of time and effort, and possibly even death, because you can focus more on the enemies and not the loot, because the little pet will run around and collect everything for you, as well as giving you health upgrades as well. So that's always nice. Now when we go into the play mode here, we have the story campaign, which is 1 through 20. And you have challenges down below. Now before we do challenges, we'll actually go into the story and show you exactly what that is. When you go into it, you have a choice to pick who you want to bring into the battle with you, because there is a limitation in what you can throw together as your party, but we'll stick with what we have right here for now. Okay, so as you see here, you have on one side all the units you can summon, and over here are the defensive and offensive spells you can cast. The red fist increases the damage that you do. The blue increases the speed of which you move, so it makes us faster. And obviously the shield just increases our damage mitigation. Allows us to take more of a hit. So this is pretty much the tower element right here. Now you also have a mechanic that the red lightning. The red lightning mechanic is supposed to stop all attacks, and when you press it, it stuns the enemies, and all projectiles are supposed to be destroyed as well. Now it's not something that you really want to use unless you're in a dangerous situation. It's supposed to be represented as your get out of jail 3 card, because it stuns the enemies and destroys all projectiles. But what I've found is that if you use it in a situation where you're not in trouble, well obviously then there's no point in using it because you can just handle the basic troops as it is. But if you use it when you are in trouble, majority of the times you'll still end up dying, because while he's playing with song and casting it, the projectiles still move. And so by the time he finishes playing with song, the projectiles are so close they're right on top of you, and it doesn't even stop the projectiles and you die. So while the mechanic is decent and good, the fact that it doesn't work when you need it to, and you only need it when you need it, is really annoying. And obviously you have your units on the other side. Right there you might have been saying, well, I don't think it was moving too much, and they were moving slightly. But when you have 20 guys and 50 projectiles, and they're right on top of you, and they move a tiny bit, get in there somehow, or don't get knocked down, or whatever is going on with that, it's really inconvenient. Now obviously over here, you have your troops that you can summon. I have some upgrade abilities, that's why I have 5 in all, as well as able to summon them out pretty easily because I've been upgrading my talents and passive abilities. You can have a different combination of troops, so what you decide to bring into the battlefield is really up to you as to how well the layout you get. Now I'm just going archers maxed out because it's easier for range, but it doesn't mean that that's the best build. There's a lot of different things that are no doubt much better than this. Now what you're basically trying to do, as you see here, I mean these are the lower levels, so of course it's going to be easier right here because I have a lot more upgrades. So all these units will run across the field, and if you see up here on the top, you have a mini-map. And this is the diamond. They're all coming here to destroy that. Obviously, if they destroy that, then you lose the game. It's pretty much the entirety of the game, even though there are those two other class sections, which we will go over. So what matters with seeing how simplistic the game is fine, because how does it handle is the real question. And I found the controls, while they are receptive, sometimes it's hard to snake properly, because you'll end up sliding. And if there's a projectile coming to you to the front and you want to move down, many of the times I'll slide into a projectile even though I've started pressing the downwards button already. There is no gear system in the game as well. I feel that's important to know. Everything is through passive abilities, through the money that you gain throughout these battles, per waves or levels, whichever you want to call them. Now there are 20 waves in all, and obviously as the waves get higher up, they get harder and more troops come out, meaning that you need to have the correct mixture of troops and a high skill of being able to dodge stuff. The enemy variety in the game is actually, so far from what I've been able to see, is enough to keep the challenge alive. Now the issue that this game unfortunately cannot get away from, the fact that it is a port, and because it's a port from a mobile, it is very grindy. The mechanics of the game are very simplistic, as you've seen here. You dodge, you shoot. Your character itself really has no attack capability. I mean, you play some songs which pretty much just give passive abilities to your units. But other than that, it's pretty much just snaking. And if coming from a mobile device, you can see why that would be as it is. Which leads into the fact that it can get pretty boring. Now, if you wanted to try again, you could try again from the basic location. You can choose, if you've unlocked the next category, you can choose where you want to go exactly. Now let me show you how the upgrades work here a little bit more. So obviously, as you see, health, okay, we can just, and every time I purchase, it goes up in gold, 2,000, and it costs 5,000 in one short day, so we can't max that out. But that's pretty much what you can expect. So if I wanted to do again, I could just start from the 6th category, but let's go into the escape episode here and show you exactly what that's all about. So there's this darkness coming, and obviously you need to escape from it. And there's pretty much one hit will kill you, so you need to try not to get hit by anything and make it as far as you can, which can be a little challenging. But I find this game lacks a proper reward system, and so I really don't feel like I have anything to achieve. That mixed in with the grindy nature of it, I don't really see a reason to play it all that much. Now obviously if you're looking for a casual game, maybe this will be something you'll be interested in, but it stays true to the fact that it's a port, unfortunately. Oh, I couldn't even beat my old. So that's pretty much what you can expect. The further you go in, the harder it's gonna get. That might be entertaining for you or not. It's not enough to captivate me to want to continue playing the game. So survival mode, you start out pretty much in an arena base, and you gain random companions, and the enemies just keep coming, and they randomize the variation of what comes. And you basically just have to dodge as much as you can. Otherwise, because the enemies would just keep coming, you'll end up losing your troops, get overwhelmed, and just die. Now, this might be something that's interesting to you. For me, it's not something that is overly exciting. But you can see there is definitely a challenge element here if you want. Unfortunately, this game does not have a leaderboard, so many of these aspects where, get as far as you can, or your best personal would have to be a challenge in between your friends or yourself. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any real incentive for you to put your time into doing this. But you know, then again, maybe you'll enjoy something like that. I do like how he falls apart when he dies though. That's cute. So I feel there's a little bit more to talk about. The game is very grindy, which makes sense because it would be an iOS port, and if it's from a port, you would want to make it sort of that way so people would be like, well, I don't want to spend 8 hours playing to be able to unlock this or whatnot. I'll buy some gold. And while there is no buying gold in this game, the rebalancing of how grindy it is has not really been adjusted. And the fact that, yes, there are different characters in the game which could add a element of interest to it, the fact is that you have to grind so violently to get to the higher levels to unlock those characters. And from what I've been able to see so far is they don't really do anything all that special. The animation quality of the game is not anything that exciting. The attacks are pretty much basic. Any magic abilities don't really have any oomph to them. Now, it's not a bad game, but it's not an overly exciting one, so maybe this will be something that you enjoy, but it really offers no feeling of fulfillment, and it's just pretty much a time sink. Unfortunately, it's one of those games that was made for a completely different platform, and even though they ported it over, the basic mechanics of the game keep it too restricted for it to be successful. The music in the game is not horrible, but it does get repetitive rather fast, and that may just be more apparent than anything else because the combat is rather weak. The thing about shrimps that make them exciting is the fact that you're the one controlling the combat, you're the one fighting, it's high paced, fast action. But this is pretty much more of a snake and a grind, because you get to a point, even if you dodge like crazy, you get to a point where your minions cannot do the appropriate amount of damage they need to in order to be able to defeat enemies, and you get swarmed, overwhelmed. So what does that mean is you have to replay again and again different missions in order to gain the gold to upgrade your troops, and that just ties in with the fact that it's how the fundamentals of the game was created for the platform that was originally created on. As a mobile game, I'd be like, yeah, sure, you know, no problem. But as a PC game, I find it extremely hard to actually recommend this to people. Not because the mechanics of the game are bad or it's broken or anything, but just because it doesn't really offer you anything special from a PC platform. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A game that really isn't all that enthusiastic and gets very repetitive very fast, with a high sense of repetitiveness, a very steep grinding element, a poor sense of accomplishment and achievement, one map that doesn't even look that good, and overall just something that's not worth your time. Thank you for watching. I've been SocioPsycho, and I'll see you next time.